Stephen Meade again with another Bullseye Guy shortcast. Today, how does the world open up with coronavirus? I've heard all kinds of things. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor, but I have what I think is a pretty simple and interesting solution. I've seen, again, friends of mine, Mark Cuban. Oh, it's going to be shut down forever. We're going to do this. We're testing. We're cleaning. We're sanitizing. Totally agree. You cannot social distance, in my opinion, 40,000 people in a facility. So here's my idea. I think Major League Baseball, NFL, NASCAR, any of these big major sporting events should do the following. Number one, partner with Abbott Labs. One of these groups, Abbott's got a 5-minute test. Now, I think new ones are coming out. There's swabs coming out. I think there's going to be testing that's even quicker. But at a minimum, if you were going to go to a football game as an example, and there were testing centers set up, here's what I would do. I'd say, hey, you've got a ticket for the game. You need to register into queue. Almost like, I don't want to call it Southwest Airlines, where here's your A, here's your B, here's your C, but register. Queue up the people so they show up. People love to tailgate. They love to get there early. You have to control that. But if I were to show up at a sporting event an hour, 2, 3 hours before, go in line, social distance, wait. If you're staging the involvement of people showing up, you're not going to have 40,000 people at once. You can control it, certain gates. I go, I'm tested. Not a thermometer, because I may not have the symptoms. You're going to test me and let me in, whether or not I have a fever. I may have a fever and just have a cold. I may have a fever and be hot because I ran to get to the game on time. Temperature doesn't really do what it needs to, but if I were able to get a quick test comes back negative, I'm now cleared. If I'm positive, they're going to send me off somewhere really quick for quarantine and everything else. But now think about it. You've got 30, 40,000 people who have been tested in a controlled environment and staged, and they're going to feel more comfortable being in a setting where everybody else is not only tested negative, but you know they're safe. I take it a step further. I tried to do some research, not my area. I'm not a doctor, but I've been to enough events that give you a bracelet. Now, this is not an ID. This is not an embedded chip. This isn't a vaccine ID card. This basically says, hey, I just took a test, and for at least right now, I'm negative. I'm clear. And I would like to have a band, whether it has the date written on it or whatever, that can't be taken off, can't be transferred, but actually disintegrates. Maybe 2 or 3 days. It's not one of these plastic silicone bands that last forever. It's almost like a thread. But again, I don't want to call it a piece of thread. But if I had a band that says, hey, I basically am clear, and it'll last 2 or 3 days where I know I'm negative, I can be out in society, I can be in a concert, I can be at a sporting event, I can be at a theater where I know I've been tested and I'm negative and everybody else in there as well. And as a public service, I think that would be an amazing way to spread about and accelerate a lot of the testing. There's these concerns. How do you get 6, 7, 8, 10 million tests? How do you line up? How do you do it? Do it around events. People want to be out. They want to be social. They want to go to restaurants and concerts and sporting events. I just don't think temperature testing is going to do it. I would love a situation. I would totally do it. Go to an event, take a test, get a band, go in, have a great time, know that I'm safe. I would still do social distancing when I'm out. I'd still wear a mask. But if I'm in that event, I get to be around people who I know have been tested. I know it's safe, and I know it's a social setting. Will it work? I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I'd much rather try that than testing and temperature, which I don't think solves all the problem. So again, another shortcast, Stephen Meade, Bullseye Guy Podcast, bullseyeguy.com. Please tune in.